What are you climbing?
We're doing more of a travel route. We're going to try to go from the Pica over to the Rampart.
Yeah.
And then...
Well, here we are in Talkeetna, Alaska. It's hard to believe since 1930. This is my 67th trip here, and we enjoy every one of them.
So when you relay...
My love affair with Mount McKinley can easily be traced back to a single moment. In January 1936, Dr. Gilbert Grosvenor, then president of the National Geographic Society, asked if I knew of any unusually interesting geographical exploration that could be pulled off at not too great an expense. This unexpected challenge posed no problems to me. I had already read the thrilling stories of the exploration and conquest of Mount McKinley by Belmore Browne and Hudson Stuck. I had also learned to fly myself and had 7 years of experience in aerial photography among the big peaks of the Alps in the Alaska Coast Range. I proposed a micro-expedition to make the first large-format photographic flights over and around Mount McKinley, to be done at a cost not to exceed $1,000. Teaming up with the National Geographic and Pan American Airways, we made the flights in July 1936, and we sent back to Dr. Grosvenor some 200 8 by 10-inch photographs and a check for $37, the unexpended balance of that $1,000 grant. In the more than 60 years since that memorable summer, I've climbed McKinley 3 times and spent many, many months on and above its slopes, on snowshoes, on crampons, in tents, igloos, airplanes, and helicopters.
The day came for us to go to the summit, and I was on the rope with Bill Hackett and George Brown, and I was doing very well, in good shape, and they were dragging behind. They had headaches and everything, and Bill Hackett I was having to pull all the time. Anyway, when we got toward the summit, Shorty Lang, I guess, was the lead man on the rope, and he said, "Now, Barbara, we're getting to the top. Now, you must step out first, because don't you know you're the first woman to get here?" And I said, "Oh, heck, that doesn't make any difference. We 3 will go on just as way they are." We were. And so he said, no. He said, "Barbara, you're making history. So you go ahead of me and step out first," which I did. But I did not have an emotional feeling when I got to the top like Brad did, and thinking it was his last time and weeping and all that. All I could think of was getting home to my kids safely. But I said to myself, boy, I'll never be here again. I better walk over to the edge and take a good look. And I did, and I looked at it as far as I could see, and I said, oh yes. When the first guys got up here, they said it looked like looking out the windows of heaven, and they were right. It looks just the way I imagined heaven when I was a little girl.
Solid there? Okay.
Nice sloppy slop.
We're talking to you?
Parked here
Yeah, all right.
on a 5,600-foot landing field right near Don Sheldon's mountain house, behind which, and you'll see in just a minute, Mount McKinley towers about 15,000 feet directly above us. We landed here in the winter of 1955, and we spent a whole month in here mapping this corner of our present Mount McKinley map, which came out in 1960, printed over in Switzerland. We were parked and camped below here on the flats with a magnificent view of Mount McKinley. And after Don Sheldon had died, I suggested to the Board on Geographic Names that they name it after Don Sheldon, Don Sheldon Amphitheater.
Remember when we got almost benighted in here with Don? He landed Betsy and you and me here, and then he got stormed in town, and we were afraid we were going to have to spend the night, but he finally came in and rescued us at the last minute.
I'm looking out the right-hand side here, and Mount McKinley looks to be wide open. Beautiful blue sky around it.
High flight, John McGee, the Royal Air Force pilot. Up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, where never lark or even eagle flew. And while with silent lifting mind, I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God.